Fire up the cue. Grab a beverage or two and settle in. This is the Morning Tailgate on Raider Nation Radio 920, the flagship for the Silver and Black. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignore, and Clay Baker. Coming to you live from Las Vegas here on a Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. We are not live from Raiders HQ this morning. The Raiders practicing at Allegiant Stadium tonight. Just a couple days ahead of their preseason opener against the Arizona Cardinals. Their practice at Allegiant Stadium tonight may be the best bang for your buck to get inside the Death Star for any reason whatsoever. $5 gets you in. 100% of the proceeds go to the Raiders Foundation, and you get to lay witness to the 2026 Silver and Black. Get your peepers on the Mandalorian, Fernando Mendoza, and you make your own assessment of number 15, how he's looking compared to one Kirk O'Chain's Kirk Cousins. $5 tickets. Raiders practice tonight. Practice starts at 6 o'clock. Parking's free. Concessions will be open. The Raiders Image Store will be alive and well. Still plenty of time to go get those tickets. Clay, did you get your ticket?
I got mine. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Should you get,
guys? Oh, let's go!
I want to see Fernando.
Should you get 2 tickets just in case you misplaced the first one?
I should get 11 of them.
Or 15.
Yes. It's so affordable, and you don't want to miss this. This is a great time. Open practice is a lot of fun.
And you can say you were there when.
That's right.
Who knows what this magical ride of the Silver and Black will be this season. But whatever it is, you could say, hey, I was there at the start. And for those that may have missed out on training camp, didn't want to sit out in the heat in training camp, hey, newsflash, Allegiant Stadium, climate controlled, cool,
or just couldn't get off of work, right? You know, or just couldn't get off work.
Details, Vinny, details.
In the morning. It's because Raider fans are tough, man. The heat not so much of a problem. Sometimes that schedule though, Vince, because we don't work. We don't work, right? We do. It's just like to call this work. I mean, come on, it's not work. This is fun. But there are hardworking Raider fans out there that might not be able to get out there in the morning. But what a perfect time at 6 o'clock after you punch your time card, head over to Allegiant Stadium, enjoy what I think, and I've been talking to a lot of people about this, really nice roster that John Spytek and his crew have put together, and see for yourself. We've been talking about the differences, right? You guys, what we feel are differences. Look, anytime you make a coaching change, it's gonna feel different. That's just a fact of the matter. And I think we've noticed it. I think all of our colleagues have noticed it. People that have popped in to training camp have noticed it. Now it's a chance for the fans to get a look at it and see how different it really is.
So make sure you go get those tickets, Raiders.com/camp for details, how to get the tickets, et cetera, et cetera. So
yes,
I'm very excited to see. I was talking to Lincoln Kennedy yesterday about what tonight was like, right? Like how different can we really expect? Because if we time warp this time a year ago, Clay, we were talking about this before the show. This time last year when we were getting ready for an Allegiant Stadium mock game, right, Pete Carroll was all about it. He was very excited about the opportunity to get inside Allegiant Stadium for the first time, et cetera, et cetera. Not to say Clint Kubiak is not, but this is not a mock game. This is just dubbed a practice, right? But when I was talking to Lincoln, he was telling me, he goes, look, you could set it as a normal practice all you want. There's going to be extra juice inside that building and with the players because you are in the building for the first time this season, because you are going to be in front of thousands of members of Raider Nation for the first time. And yes, it may just be practice, and yes, it may just be the drills. But again, how many times have we talked about the new of this roster? And for many of them, it's going to be a first in the Silver and Black in that stadium, being able to, quote unquote, put on a show while also, again, not above all, getting the work done.
It's a first. You gotta take advantage of moments like these, especially when you can go inside and this is like a kind of like a reuniting of Raider Nation, and everyone can kind of go about the routine of going to football games and being a part of the structure that is one of the great traditions of American sports, football season. And this is the one that kind of kicks it off. But what I love about it is that you get a chance to go through the depth chart. You get a chance to go through all the numbers. You get to see and get to know your team. That's what makes the open practice a lot of fun, because you actually you open up the book and now it begins. And this also marks the first day of the season almost for a lot of people. Finally, when they get a chance to see somebody up in front in person, now you know that the football season's on and it's real.
Yeah, I would suggest bringing a notebook or use your phone as a notebook and take notes about players, because Vince, how many times have we been out there and like, who's that again? We're still getting to know this roster. There's a lot of new faces on this team, and players that have switched uniform numbers that you have to kind of double check the roster to see who you're talking about, because there's a lot of dudes that are out there flashing. So if I'm a fan, I'm bringing a notebook or working on my phone alongside my roster, and just who's that number 28? Who's over there? Who's that player? And just take notes so that you can refer back to it, or when you get home, kind of review it and everything. Because trust me, you're going to see a lot of players out there that you haven't seen before. Some players like a Tonka Hemingway who look decidedly different than they did last year, and it's kind of fun to check the notes, even maybe down the road, halfway through the season, to remember what it was that you saw at this practice and how it ended up lining up in the regular season.
So very excited for that. Looking forward to what that may look like. And I think there's even more excitement now, not just for Raider Nation, but for what we do as well, as the team unveiled its first unofficial depth chart just a couple days before its preseason opener. And that dropped late last night. And I know, like everyone, I was scurrying to see what was unofficially listed on the unofficial depth chart, with everything obviously subject to change. But when we look at, I guess we'll just start with the offense. I feel that's a good way to start. Mm-hmm. To the surprise of no one, Kirk 1, Fernando 2, right? No surprises there. I think what really caught my eye was at running back. Mike Washington Jr. seemingly taking that spot right behind Ashton Genty. Again, not necessarily a surprise, but considering how much Dylan Lobby got in terms of run, I was curious to see what that might look like. But Mike Washington listed as of today, the number 2. And then really, again, it goes to the offensive line. Looking at the offensive line, Jackson Powers-Johnson listed as that first-string right guard. Backing up JPJ is not Caleb Rogers, it's Antonio Maffei, and Caleb Rogers is the 2 behind a Spencer Burford. Charles Grant, the 2 behind Colton Miller, and Trey Zune III backing up DJ Glaze at right tackle. Now, again, there's a lot of ways to dig into this, and let's just do so. We'll get to the defense here in a bit, but it's interesting because the whole conversation, the only rotation we've seen is Jackson Powers-Johnson and Caleb Rogers. Caleb Rogers not out there, as we saw yesterday being a Monday. So Jackson Powers-Johnson had full reign in terms of that right guard spot. Caleb Rogers has worked at both this training camp in terms of with the 2s, left guard and right guard. So not necessarily a complete surprise. And so I just wonder if it's just putting Caleb Rogers at left guard to put at left guard. I still think the competition is ongoing. I don't think this unofficial depth chart all of a sudden erases that competition. Mm-hmm. And I know many probably thought that immediately looking at it, seeing Maffei behind JPJ instead of Rogers.
Yeah, it doesn't change it one bit. There's still a competition at right guard. I do think Jackson Powers-Johnson will eventually win that, and then Caleb does become your swing guard. Basically, he'll back up both of the guard spots. We're seeing more and more of Trey Zune as the backup right tackle. I think that they are programming him as a sort of a super backup at tackle and at guard. He can play both of those positions. So you're kind of starting to see a little bit of what that vision might look like along the offensive line. But no, I wouldn't read anything into what that depth chart said about the right guard position at all.
And as we branch out, and you look at the wide receivers, the 3 wide receivers listed as starters, Tucker, Besh, and Naylor. Again, I don't think necessarily a surprise at this particular point, but Malik Benson behind Jack Besh is notable because, as we have talked about seemingly every day, every hour of our show, Malik Benson is popping up in a massive way. And so once this preseason game takes place, we'll see what next week has in store in terms of the updated depth chart, if there's any changes. But it's interesting because what Malik Benson is doing is not necessarily what Jack Besh is doing. And I don't even just mean from a production standpoint. I just mean Malik Benson is lined up everywhere and doing a lot of different things. Jack Besh has seemingly kind of been in his, close to the line and doing over-the-middle type stuff. We've seen Malik Benson go deep. We've seen Malik Benson on the sidelines. We've seen him over the middle. So we've seen more in what Malik Benson is offering compared to what maybe Jack Besh has thus far, which is why I think it's interesting those two are listed 1 and 2 because they do very different things seemingly for this offense.
And what's really interesting about that, Vince, is that again, when you start thinking about, all right, what are players being what roles are players being kind of trained for right now or prepared for right now? Malik Benson is clear as day to me that let's say, knock on wood, something were to happen to Trey Tucker or something were to happen to Jalen Naylor. Guess who's learning and being used in all sorts of different situations to potentially cover all sorts of different situations that could occur. So when you start thinking about a true number 3 wide receiver, not only in your game day role, and sometimes there'll be specific roles for you as a number 3 wide receiver. Sometimes when there's 11 personnel and there are 3 wide receivers on the field, you're gonna be that 3rd wide receiver in some cases. But if somebody were to get hurt or have to leave the game, you might be covering a slot position. You might be covering the X position. You might be you're going to be that guy that has to step up to fill a really important role among your wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, Trey Tucker and Jalen Naylor. So it looks to me like when you see him in training camp lining up all over the field, it kind of leads me to suspect that's what they're preparing him to be. Not only the wide receiver 3, but also the next guy up if wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1 go down.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I think Jack Besh. You talked about guys knowing their roles. Jack Besh talked about when he met with us. I believe that was last week. Days are now completely jumbled. But when he met with us, he goes, I feel I understand my role. I feel it's clearly defined. I need to be a great blocker, and I need to make tough catches over the middle, and I need to move the chains. It was very matter of fact, right? Like, not necessarily limiting himself or saying this is all I can do, but it just felt like the message to him was made very clear of what his role looks like. And I got to tell you, there was a couple drills that I saw yesterday, in the run game, and Jack Besh was moving people. Now, again, we're talking about corners and safeties and sometimes doubling up on linebackers and stuff, but he was moving people, much to the chagrin of his coaches who were fired up multiple times, running up to number 18 and slapping him on the helmet like that's how you do it. There was one in particular. I didn't see who he ran into the dirt, and I probably want to mention, but he ran somebody into the dirt.
Nice.
And it got quite the ovation from his offensive teammates. So, that's the guy with a clearly defined role. I know Raider Nation probably want more than just that. I know they don't want the first thing they hear about their second-round pick from the 2025 draft is, hey, he's a really good run blocker. I know that's probably not the first thing you want to hear with Jack Besh, but it is very good. That being said, I don't think that limits him to what he can do, but at some point, he's got to go out and do it. right? And if there was ever an opportunity, that opportunity is here for him with this wide receiver room to do it. We just have to see it. Maybe it's more of a game type situation where you can see him blossom more. Vinny, I don't know the answer to it. I do know that Raider Nation wants more. He probably wants more, especially in particular number 18.
Yeah, without a doubt. But Malik Benson's going to have a lot to say about that, to be quite honest about it. And that's what competition is all about. And Jack is going to, hopefully have a role and find a role. And some of it's going to be that blocking and, as he said, that kind of that possession wide receiver getting a big play maybe on a third down. But I'll be curious to see how many times he's actually on the field, considering what Malik Benson has been doing. So it's number 19 is going to have a lot of might have a lot to say about how much number 18 plays.
So for Malik Benson to play, it means that Jack Bech has to sit more. Can they be on the field at the same time?
Well, who are you taking off the field?
Well, I don't know. Like how much interchangeable is Naylor and Tucker?
There's definitely been a rotation there at training camp, but
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's rotation just for rotation purposes in camp. In terms of the ask of what that's going to be in a game, that all kind of remains to be seen. Again, it feels like just watching Clint Kubiak has a plan for the guys that he has a plan for. And I do think there's going to be rotation. So, I think you're going to see Malik Benson on the field at the same time as Jack Bech at some point this year. I don't think Jack Bech has to be off the field for Malik Benson to be on it. Because, again, going back to what I said, they do very different things. And so that's why I think Malik Benson is more interchangeable with a Trey Tucker and a Jalen Naylor more than a Jack Bech in particular. So the likelihood of seeing 18 and 19 feel higher to me than seeing 19 Tucker and Naylor together, if that made sense.
Yep, that does, because I've often wondered how much of the clustering goes on with what Kubiak wants to do and how much is he showing and what kind of rotations it is. The depth chart does kind of explain that, but at the same time, I wonder how multiple certain guys can be and how different their roles will be. And for somebody like Malik Benson, I would like to see what the sky's the limit. Like, what else is he able to do and capable of doing? And I'd like to see him on the field as much as possible.
It's going to be interesting because there's going to be a lot of 12 personnel, too, so that takes a wide receiver off the field. And I don't know that you're going to see Trey Tucker and Jalen Naylor coming off the field in those situations. And so, when you go to 13 person, there's definitely going to be times where it is, Jack Bech and Malik Benson together. I'm trying to draw up scenarios on when that might be. I think Jack's definitely going to be there, especially on run plays because he's such a good blocker that's going to be a real asset in that. Now, but again, I'm sure Jack Bech is like, hey, I'm a wide receiver. I'm not just a blocker. I'd love to be out here catching the ball too because that is my that was what I was drafted to be, and that's where I'm I'm thinking more in those scenarios, in passing scenarios. How many times is it going to be Jack compared to Malik Benson? If Malik Benson, provided Malik Benson stays on this track, and how many times are they going to be on the field together when it is in a passing situation? And who are you taking off the field in that scenario among Trey Tucker and Jalen Naylor?
That's a good point. 12 personnel is going to be a massive part of this offense without question. So that, again, limits the opportunity to be there. I would also make the argument, Jack Bech sometimes looks like a tight end out there.
He used to play tight end.
And I mean that in a complimentary way because of his ability to block and because he is, a guy who has really good hands. It goes back to what I said. I think Raider Nation, along with Jack Bech, want to hear more about how he's the pass catcher as opposed to how good he is blocking. That's why I just wonder how much of the preseason is going to give us a look into how much has that changed, if at all, or not, and how they view Jack Bech in that particular mode. Because, again, the volume, I can only tell you what I've seen at training camp. And the volume that Malik Benson has gotten in the pass game is almost overwhelming, considering Jalen Naylor's there as well, Trey Tucker's there as well. Obviously, Jack Besh. We haven't seen Dante Thornton here in a few days. So,
not good for Dante.
Not good for Dante. I mean, there's no other way to say that.
Needs to be out there.
And we're not really breaking news like that. We talked about what a massive training camp this needed to be for Dante Thornton Jr. Not seeing him here the last couple of days is not what you want out of him. And even before that, there was a lot left to be desired. Ramping up to this first preseason game. We will see what that looks like ahead of practice tonight at Allegiant Stadium. Jesse Merrick of the Silver and Black Sports Network will be joining us in hour number 2. Ryan McFadden of ESPN joining us in hour number 3 here on the Morning Tailgate. We want to hear from you. The depth chart is out. Who are the names that jump out to you, whether it's the 1s, 2s, or 3s? Who do you think has the most ability to move up or down in this depth chart now over the course of the training camp as we see it? 702-365-9200 is the number. We'll open up the phone lines. We'll get to some of your texts, but first.
And boy, I'll tell you what, you guys, that day three is looking really good for the Raiders. That draft day 3 with Zeke Massis, Jamon McCoy, Mike Washington, and Malik Benson. And you might as well throw Kion Sloan in there too. It's just some great work by the scouts and by John Spytek. So I really believe that, Vince. I think that this is going to be year 1, a huge contribution year for those day 3 guys. It's really exciting stuff. Hey guys, are you craving Mexican food? Real Mexican food that's been doing it right for generations? Then it's time for Sal's Mexican Restaurant, a Central Valley tradition since 1942. We're talking about the kind of food that keeps people coming back. Stacked burritos, sizzling fajitas, legendary enchiladas, and those award-winning tamales that everybody's talking about. And here's the best part. Whether you're in Selma, Madera, or Fresno, Sal's has a location for you. Plus, Raider Nation, listen up. Sal's is all about the silver and black. Game day, fight night, whatever the case might be, this is your spot. If you can't make it in, no problem. You get Sal's delivered straight to your door wherever you are. Just go to salsmexicanrestaurant.com. That's salsmexicanrestaurant.com and place your order right now. They'll deliver it to you wherever you are. Don't wait. Don't settle. Sal's Mexican Restaurant. Tradition, flavor, and Raider pride. Served up fresh every single day.
Now, back to the
that's the plays. That goes for everybody. Everybody has to do those things. Everybody has to play their role, so we can, as a team, take this team where we want to go.
Raiders wide receiver Jack Besh talking about his role, the role of the wide receivers here under Clint Kubiak. You got to do a little bit of everything, but it is telling that the first thing he talks about when his role is brought up is being a good blocker, catching passes over the middle. Feels like that message has been delivered. I do want to bring some more sound, though, from Jack Besh, since he was the topic as we started things off, and looking at the offensive depth chart, if you will, and how Malik Benson is creeping up that depth chart on not just Jack Besh, but maybe all the receivers. Here's Besh on the rookie wideout.
For sure. Malik has been great. He's super fast, super twitchy. He's coming here. He puts his head down. He works super hard. He's super talented. He makes really good plays. He makes the big play. That's what we're counting on him to do, to come in here, to push all of us, everybody in that receiver room, to just push each other to grow and to be the best we can be each and every day we get out here.
Twitchy. It's a great way to describe number 19. Super twitchy, and that's where that separation comes in, right? Like, that's where he's able to kind of make those plays, but it goes even beyond that. I mean, it was yesterday Malik Benson made another unreal, just the torque of his body midair, being able to come down with a catch from Kirk Cousins, by the way. Very, very notable. So I'm excited to see what Malik Benson can do. No idea what kind of impact he's going to have, because for the Seattle Seahawks, who ran the second most running plays in the NFL last year, led by Clint Kubiak and Janoko and Dennison and all of them, they're all here now. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to be running 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 5 tight ends on this roster for opening day. I think 4 is almost a guarantee. Right? And I'm probably cart before the horse, Vinny, in terms of, roster cut down day and all that kind of stuff. But Hearing Luke Steckel and talk to him yesterday, Ian Thomas is very much part of the plan. Sounds like Albert O is very much part of the plan. I mean, that's 4 tight ends right there between Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. So, when we talk about the numbers game, tough day for tough camp so far for Dante Thornton. Derek Young has popped in special teams and a little bit on offense. I mean, you're starting to get into the point of camp where, you really start looking around if you weren't before.
Yeah, and don't forget your fullback can play a little tight end as well too. So that might change the calculus a little bit as well, because I'm 4 tight ends and a fullback. You got your offensive line to think about. You got your wide receivers. How many quarterbacks are you gonna keep? Does that mean maybe it's just 2 quarterbacks this year? So there's some math issues. It's a good issue to have, because there's some really good options now. But at some point, there's going to be a numbers crunch here, and with a fullback on the roster, I don't know, if you're going to be able to keep the 4 tight ends on the active roster, on the 53-man roster. It's that might be a little bit tough. But if there's anyone that can figure all that out, it's John Spytek and Kubiak.
I mean, I'd love to have 3 fullbacks on this roster. Nobody ever asks me why we only have 1 fullback.
Okay.
Clay, you love that bite. You love that fullback bite.
No one's ever said that before.
In the history of football?
Right. At least not in the last 50 years.
702-365-9200. The depth chart is out. What are your thoughts? What's jumping out to you? Who are the movers and shakers for you? Kenny and Henderson, welcome back inside the tailgate. Good morning. What do you got?
Good morning, guys. How are you doing today?
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
Good. Hey, that Besh Benson competition, I think that's one of those good, bad things. I tell you, when Besh got drafted at LSU, I was so excited for him. If you look at some of his film, tight single coverage, double coverage, he always came down with the ball. I think what hurt him is he, like all of our rookies last year, they didn't get the reps that they needed to get. When the team was done, the coaching staff was just too stubborn to put the people in because they were playing favorites. But that's old news. I don't want to go there. As far as Benson goes, man, he is so exciting. So exciting to have on our team, but they're 2 different guys. Like I say, Besh is doing what they asked of him. He's blocking guys to the ground. Benson is looking like a superstar, in a year or 2. Who knows? He could be a diamond in the rough, turn out being number 1. I think Besh is more of a Jacoby Myers style player. I think they're 2 different players, maybe has to do the same type of job at different times, but, I think Benson's going to be your burner down the field. Besh will be your almost like a tight end blocker, wide receiver, sort of like a Jacoby Myers. But I'm excited about them both, man. I think it's a healthy competition. I mean, like I say, we've got 2 really good, young, up-and-coming players, in my view. I just think they just need to have the reps.
Kenny and Henderson, thanks so much for the phone call. Really appreciate it. And good stuff there. Yeah, it's Clint Kubiak's going to have a ton of different, not just rotation, but groupings, right, depending on what they're looking to do. So that's why I wonder when we do get into the number crunch, Vinny and Clay, and because we're already I already started it, right? I said
there's always
surprised
one.
if there was 5 tight ends, but it's a good point. Connor Haywood might be looked at as that what are they called, H-back? He's the fullback, but could be considered as that tight end who can catch as well. So maybe there's your quote unquote number 5.
Could
right?
Be.
So, or maybe they just go with the 3 and Connor Hayward, and they look at that as your 4. A lot of it's going to be determined in terms of teams, who they feel can help them on special teams, who are going to be part of those special teams. So that's a massive quotient into that number crunch as well, right? But I do wonder. I just think there's a lot there for Jack Bash. I do. He's got to go do it. Because he has great hands. He can block. He seems like the prototype of a coach's dream in terms of effort, in terms of willingness, in terms of what he can do. It's just the main part of being a wide receiver we have yet to see. And that's the frustrating part, I think, for not just, Raider Nation, but maybe the organization as well.
Yeah, and again, the good news is one of the reasons that we're talking about this. One, quite honestly, I'm still waiting for Jack Bech to flash or just make his presence be felt in a larger way, in a bigger way. It just hasn't quite happened yet, and that's one thing. But the other part of it is that you do have somebody that is, and that's Malik Benson. So, you could be a little bit like left wanting for more with Jack, but also, and I do believe there will be a role for him. Again, he is already a very good blocker, and that's gonna play well in certain situations. As far as the pass game, not quite seeing the Jacoby Myers comparison. Jacoby Myers was, quite honestly, a very special football player and continues to be a very special football player with Jacksonville Jaguars. Their skill sets, just to me, aren't really that comparable. But I get what you're saying, maybe as a possession receiver down the road, but he has a ways to go to get there. Whereas the good news, again, is Malik Benson just continues to shine on a daily basis. And so however it plays out, I just feel like he's going to have a big role in the passing game, and fans are going to get an eyeful of that tonight when they go to the joint practice, and I'm really curious how that's going to flash on Thursday against the Cardinals.
702-365-9200. Back out to the phone. Shields up with us here on the Morning Tailgate. Good morning. What do you got?
Good morning, guys. How are we doing today?
Great. Right. Good, thanks.
Great. Good to hear from you. Just want to touch on two things. The one questionable position was the wide receiver position. I think coming into this camp, we did sign Naylor, but is he going to be the number one? He is the number one on the unofficial depth chart. But as far as production, is he going to be the number one? I think the greatest thing that would happen is the surprise of Malik Benson, which would push the competition in the wide receiver room. And kind of a disappointing year for Thornton. I think Pete Carroll brought him up too soon, maybe not soon enough, not sure, but he seemed to be a disappointment last year. But like I said, great news about Malik Benson, 6th-round pick, pushing the wide receiver room, bringing up the talent there. The other thing I want to ask Vinny about, since he's the one who always clears the fog, so to speak, is Connor Hayward in that fullback position in any plays so far that they've been scripted throughout camp so far this year? Thanks for taking my call, guys. Shields up.
All right, Shields.
Yeah. Okay, so I haven't seen, like, if you're thinking about visually a fullback in an I formation where the running back is directly behind the fullback. Quite honestly, I didn't see that, and that doesn't mean that they don't have that on the ready, or that's not going to be something that they use during the season, and we'll see about all that. But I have seen him, there's been many times where I saw him, with Ashton as the up back, and Connor lined up to the left or right, kind of like, as Vince was saying, that H-back type of a position. So we'll see, but I think once we get to the regular season, those types of packages, we're gonna see how they're gonna be utilized. But Vince, maybe you've seen it. I haven't seen any I formation. Tailback lined up right behind a fullback with his hand on the ground.
No, but I've seen a lot of Connor Hayward. With the ones. I've seen a ton. So there's going to be – he is very much part of the offense in a massive way. So, again, a lot of that –
They will utilize a fullback.
Yeah, I mean, there's zero question about that. Again, to the point of where, like, I almost include him as that tight end set, because they've talked about Connor Hayward and his hands and his ability to catch the ball too. So they very much want him part of the offense. He's another guy that I think will understands his role though, but how much he can, make more of it, I guess will be up to him. 702-365-9200. We'll keep the phone lines open. We'll get to some of your texts as well, but right now it is time for our Summer Fun. Brought to you by Terribles and your friends right here, Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m. It is the final week of the Summer of Fun giveaway. All you got to do is text in the keyword of the day, 702-365-9200, and you are entered for a chance to set sail. Where are we going, Clay? Ho, 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 ho! Hawaii.
Oh,
Aloha, oi.
boy,
That's
saving
exactly
a big
what it sounds
vacation. Yeah, but I thought that was on the islands right there. I felt I was watching a luau and some fire dancing. But finally, we get to the end of the summer of fun, and what's there with us? The great Hawaiian vacation.
4 nights, airfare from L.A. to Hawaii. Man. I'm envious a lot. I'm really envious today.
I always get envious when Rebel football goes to Hawaii. I think they travel there kind of early.
Yeah,
I'm
how
like,
do they
oh,
do-
come on. You kids got everything.
I think that's why they're still in the Mountain West.
Yeah, right. So they get the Hawaiian
So they
vacation
just
once a
get
year.
All you got to do is text in the keyword of the day. The keyword of the day here on a Tuesday, August 11, 2026, to be entered for a chance to go to Hawaii. River. R-I-V-E-R. Text in the word river to 702-365-9200, and you are in for a chance for a trip.
We just can't wait to see where we can take this thing.
Raiders wideout Jack Besh listed as starter on the depth chart, talking about he and Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton listed as a 2 behind Jalen Naylor as it stands today. But if we're really using what our eyes have seen through training camp, it feels like that number 4 wide receiver at minimum, right now is Malik Benson. And I don't think that's much of a argument, conversation. I think that is just what it is. And I would even go as far to say as Derek Young might be that number 5 as of right now. Okay. Again, we're really, probably steps ahead of that conversation. We have yet to have a preseason game to where, again, we heard from Clint Kubiak, starters are going to play a good amount throughout the preseason. What that looks like on Thursday remains to be seen. He is supposed to meet with the media today with us at 1 o'clock. Obviously, that's going to be one of the questions that we'll be asking him ahead of Thursday and ahead of tonight's practice, with tonight being the last practice before that preseason game that we'll get to talk to him, what he envisions his starters being able to do or not do on Thursday against the Cardinals. And we'll obviously have that discussion tomorrow and Thursday. But as we continue, to deep dive into this unofficial first depth chart of the 2026 campaign, we talked about the offense. On the defensive side of things, to the surprise of no one, if you've been listening to this show and all our shows here on Raider Nation Radio 920, Tonka Hemingway has emerged as a starter along that defensive line. The question being was, whose spot was he taking? Because at different times, it was he and Jonah, it was he and Adam Butler running out with those ones, but the constant was number 97, Tonka Hemingway, running out with the ones. It seems, according to this depth chart, he and Adam Butler are the 2 starting defensive tackles. Jonah Laulu, Thomas Booker with the 2s. No doubt there will be some form of rotation along that defensive line for D-line coach Travis Smith, who maybe we'll get to some of his sound from yesterday a little later on this morning. But I think the other notable part is in the secondary, Vinny and Clay. And, if you were to tell me that a 5th-round pick is fighting, Darian Porter for that first-round pick, in addition to Jermod McCoy missing just a single day of training camp to this point, I would say that secondary feels like it is on its way up and to the right.
Yeah, and I totally hear what you're saying about missing a day. I think it's probably fairer to explain that as he was that was the plan. It wasn't like he had to miss it or anything like that.
But he missed it. Yeah, we talked about it. We've talked about it every single day. There was going to be a plan. There was going to be some days he took off. There was going to be some days where he was a full go. I think the feather in the cap for Jermod McCoy is it's only been a single day, because he even talked about yesterday how he feels like he's already moved past what they felt he would have been at to this point. Again, we'll play some Jermod McCoy sound a little bit later in the show. But, yes, there was a plan. There was going to be some days he was not going to participate. It's only been one day. That feels like a giant win for the Raiders in and of itself, in addition to just the competitive play in that secondary overall.
Yeah. And it really does reaffirm kind of what the whole situation was, that he wasn't hurt. It was just the longevity part of it. But to your point, Vince, you could be as optimistic as you want and as hopeful as you want, but it all has to play out. And so far, knock on wood, as you said, it's just been the one day, and they haven't felt the need. Because look, what if he's, feel a little achy today, or it's not quite responding today? Then you got to, maybe double up the days. That hasn't happened yet. So an extremely, extremely positive thing. It's basically just been the plan, and the plan has played out so far so good. And let's just hope that goes on for the next 10 years. That's what I'm hoping for Jamon McCoy. Even as of right now, it's been a huge win. But man, when you talk about that secondary, and you throw in Jamad, you throw in Zeke Massis, you throw in Aiden Stukes, it's just been, and Darian Porter too, guys. He's still very much in the mix, and I think is going to be a valuable football player for this team in a role. Maybe it's the starting role, maybe it's in a rotation role. Either way, you're going to see a lot of guys out on the field and a lot of high-end athletes and really disruptive type forces out there in a way that we probably haven't seen with the Raiders in a long time.
We're going to dive into the defensive side of the ball and the depth chart in particular here in hour number 2. Jesse Merrick will be joining us to kick off hour number 2. But I want to say this about Darian Porter, because I noticed it specifically yesterday. And, just going through my notes from training camp, I wrote it down a couple times. Darian Porter is the most vocal he's been. Now, again, this is only a second training camp, right? Year 2. So, not a ton of runway. But some of the plays he was making, he had one pass breakup, and he let the offense know about it, right? There was a play where a completion was made on him, and his reaction to it was not like a year ago. A year ago, he gives up a completion, he just, gets back up, goes to the huddle. This time he was pissed at himself. He was yelling. Like there is an upped level of competition going on that side of the ball, specifically in that position group, that I think is really bringing out the best, in particular in a Darian Porter. Let's dive into that a little bit more in hour number 2. Jesse Merrick joins us next on the Tailgate. Number 2 here on the Morning Tailgate. It's Raider Nation Radio 920. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignore, and Clay Baker coming to you live from Las Vegas here on a Tuesday, August 11, 2026. We're not at Raiders HQ this morning. So much sadness. It's weird not being there right now. But practice is tonight. 6 o'clock, Allegiant Stadium. Tickets on sale, $5. 100% of the proceeds go to the Raiders Foundation. So don't just buy one, buy a bunch. It's all for a good cause. And you get to feast your eyes on the one known as Fernando. 702-365-9200. We're digging into the depth chart that was released today, getting you ready for practice tonight. And to help us set the table, so to speak, is a guy who was at our table a week ago. Not at our table today because we're not there. He's the founder, CEO, Silver and Black Sports Network, Emmy award-winning sportscaster here in Las Vegas, Jesse Merrick. Jesse, good morning. What did you do with your morning now that you didn't have to, get your sweat on at training camp?
Yeah, a free morning is a weird one this time of year, right? And in an exciting fashion, I took the dogs for a walk.
What a guy.
Off to a great start.
What a guy. Do the dogs have the booties on the paws?
No, I do it early enough to where you don't have to worry about that. And luckily today wasn't too bad in the morning, but definitely have booties on the ready if need be. That's for sure.
Jesse. That'll be.
That's good.
All right, just checking. All right, depth chart, the unofficial one came out for the first time this season last night, so obviously we are going to overanalyze all of it. What jumped out to you when looking at that depth chart?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing to me was just the way that a couple of guys on the offensive line shook out in there. The fact that they had Caleb Rogers listed as a left guard and Trey Zune at right tackle. I know Trey's been working at right tackle a lot, but yesterday, obviously, he was back at center. He's worked at guard as well, particularly right guard, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's been at left guard, but he's been all over the offensive line. So I was just curious to see kind of where they would be at. And Caleb Rogers has been working predominantly, at least in camp, at right guard in the team session. So interesting to see them kind of throw it out there that way. Again, unofficial, so like take it with a grain of salt, but that was what stood out to me there. Also, too, I mean, we've all been out there at camp. Who's the one wide receiver we've all been talking about most? Malik Benson. Ooh. And technically they have Jack Besh up there in front of them. Now, again, I think Jack will have a role on this team, but I think if you roll the wide receiver, or if you roll this team out there, if it's week 1 right now, Malik Benson has to be one of your top 3 receivers, just given what he's done in camp.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't we stay on that? What has Malik Benson shown you?
A little bit of everything, to be honest, and which is like kind of nice because my read on him, because we all watch like these guys from college, whether you watch tape, whether you watch their highlights, whatever it is, or if you watch them in the actual games, and you're so curious to see how it's going to translate into the NFL. And for me, when I was looking at him and just reading the scouts on him and all that stuff, everyone's saying like this is a guy that is a speedster, but like I remember even hearing Steve Smith talk about him. That was like for a speedster, this is a guy that's not afraid to go up and get it or go over the middle. Like there's more to him than that. And I had kind of bought into that with what I had seen of his tape and everything. And so I'm like, okay, like, let's see if that translates. And I think we've seen that, even one day in particular, like I'm not trying to throw like a stray at Mendoza here, but he threw a hospital ball to Malik and like he even went out there trying to get it. You know what I mean? Like it was like he was trying to go for that one. Yesterday at camp, Kirk throws a 50-50 ball his way and he's matched up against Darian Porter, who's, a longer dude, and he's able to go up and get it, show some really strong hands and pull that thing down. We've seen obviously the speed that he possesses to beat guys deep, whether it's in one-on-ones, or just clearing out for other guys. And then on the drags and things like that, there's obviously so many crossers in this offense. We've seen him be able to get the ball in his hands and show the burst to separate from guys. So, like, that's just really impressed me. But the one thing that really stood out to me is Kirk Cousins did an interview with Dan Graziano from ESPN, and Dan asked him, about the young receiving core and just who in general has stood out to him. And the first guy he mentioned was Malik Benson. Michael Mayer, when I asked him about him, he said he looks out there and he trusts him. And that's a 6th-round pick. To have guys already saying that about you, 5-6 days in pads? I know it's 10 days of practice, but only 5 or 6 days in pads. That tells you a lot about what this kid has shown those guys. And so it kind of confirms what we've seen out there as well.
Yeah, I mean, what a difference a year makes for rookie wide receivers. Last year's Malik Benson was Dante Thornton Jr. What hasn't Thornton not showed you this year?
I mean, lately, he hasn't been out there. That's one thing for sure. I think, 3 straight missed practices, I believe. Mm-hmm. And just when the opportunities have been there, like just kind of not really doing much. I remember watching one rep in one-on-ones in particular. He was running kind of like a level concept. He would have been the middle one, running like a 15-yard out on the sideline, and just kind of no real stem on his route to fool the defender, and it just looked kind of bad going out of the to kind of bend towards the sideline out of his break, and it was just like, huh? And like even the coaches, you could see were like they're trying to coach him up through that, and this is the time to make those mistakes. But a guy that's even year 2 in the league now shouldn't be having to do stuff like that, And also too, we talked about it last week. This is a guy that's got to fight on special teams, and the fact that he hasn't been out there. I'm not knocking anybody for being injured by any means, but the fact that he hasn't been out there, he hasn't been able to show what he can do. And we talked about it last week that he doesn't necessarily have the body type that you think would fit and the skill set that I think would translate well to being a special teamer outside of a returner type, because he's not a guy that I necessarily want to see tackling and stuff. So the fact that he hasn't been available is really hurting him, and Malik Benson has shown what he can do. Jack hasn't had a ton of opportunities, but when he's been able to show off his physicality, like he's done some good things, particularly in one-on-ones and stuff. So the other guys around him are making plays. I mean, even Devin Tompkins, I've been saying, I don't know where he fits into the things here, probably a practice squatter, but that's a guy that's probably going to flash on Thursday, and fans are going to be like, whoa, who's this guy? Because I feel like I constantly look at my roster. So it's like we're talking about all these other guys and not Dante Thornton Jr. in a good way, just because we haven't seen that stuff from him and he hasn't been out there. So, again, you already kind of entered camp behind the 8 ball, and now because he hasn't been able to be out there and do his thing or take advantage of any opportunities that he does get, it's just further and further kind of pushing back behind the line there.
Jesse Merrick with the Silver and Black Sports Network. Jesse, I don't know necessarily how to phrase this question because it feels so late. When I look at this secondary, right? Like Jermon McCoy listed as 3rd on the depth chart. We take that with a grain of salt because the talent is so obvious watching him in person. Anybody who's able to go to the practice tonight at Allegiant Stadium, I think you're going to see number 28 just looks different, runs different, all those kinds of things. So I would take that specifically with a grain of salt. But when you look at Jermod, Zeke Masses, Darian Porter, and dare I say DeCameron Richardson, all battling for the ones and twos reps, I feel like all four of those guys have flashed opposite of Eric Stokes. I'm curious at this point in training camp, and I'm not talking about what's going to happen in the regular season, but at this point in camp, like how would you rank those four in terms of how they've flashed to you?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm ranking the four, I'd go Eric Stokes, Hezekiah Masses, Darian Porter, probably Jermod McCoy, then DCAM. Would be my ranking of it all. And only with Jermod, like, because I know I've tried, even when I've been talking about it on my shows about Jermod, I've been like preaching patience with him, because I think we talked about it last week. Every conversation I've had, it just feels like a run is coming for him. He's ramping back up. Like, he took an entire year off. And when we've seen him out there, it's not like you're like, ooh, there's Jermod McCoy, like in a bad way. You're like, oh, that's Jermod McCoy. Dude looks smooth, And so it's like, it just feels like only a matter of time. But with Zeke Massis, the way everyone's talking about him. And again, Darian Porter, like we talked about that play with Malik Benson yesterday, that was on Darian Porter, but Darian had a couple PBUs as well. Like I think he's had a pretty good camp, but Zeke Massis has just looked different out there, and again, the big thing is going to be tackling for him, as it was for Darian Porter, to be honest, as a former receiver. But Zeke has just burst onto the scene and has shown really good speed, has shown the ability to get in there with a pick. I think one pick, if I remember right. Might have had another one throughout camp. I can't remember off the top of my head. But has gotten in there for the PBUs as well. I've seen him in coverage with Brock Bowers where, yes, Brock gets the catch and Kirk's able to get it to him, but it's Brock Bowers, and he's like right on his hip. Like, the coverage is still good. He doesn't look outmatched. He doesn't look like a fifth-round pick. And to me, I'm like, man, this kid just looks like he has it. And even when you hear Joe Woods talk about him looking like Denzel Ward in terms of some of the ability that he has, not making a direct comparison there, but talking about some of the ability that he has, those are things that stand out. The big thing, again, is just going to be, can he consistently tackle at his size? He knows that's the narrative that's out there. He said it yesterday when he's at the podium, and he's ready to kind of show people that. So if he can do that, I see no reason in the world why he shouldn't be the number 2 corner right now, barring a run from Jermod McCoy.
Jesse, I look at that running back depth chart, and it's unofficial at the moment. Although I'm going to put my money on Ashton Jeanty being that starter. He's going to win that starting job. I'm making that call right now.
That's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, thanks. But the roles behind him are really interesting to me. I think Mike Washington is somebody that if something, knock on wood, were to happen to Ashton Jeanty, I think Mike Washington would be the guy. I think he would be your number 1 running back in that scenario. But I do think Dylan Laube is going to have a role on this team. Maybe not the number 2 running back, but a situational running back. I've liked what I've seen from Dylan, and I think there will be a game day role for him.
I like that.
Yeah, there we go, Dilly. I just made it up.
Dilly.
Talk about how you might see on game days that running back rotation or room looking on a game day.
Yeah, I mean, look, to your point on Dylan Laube, I mean, some people are probably going to be screaming at their radio when I bring this up, but look at last year with the staff, what we saw in some situations, he was used as a third down back in the 2-minute situations, and I know that staff isn't a great example of things as bad as things were last year, but we've seen him used that way here throughout camp as like the third down receiver out of the backfield, and he's even showed really good vision too. The fans don't see it. Every time I brought it up on my show, people are going off like, what are you talking about? All this stuff. But it's like, it's hard to deny at camp. Like, they very clearly have the trust in him. He can do the special teams factor of it all. So, like, to me, he's in the driver's seat for that number 3 role, honestly. And I think, again, to your point, a role as a receiving back. I mean, look up in Seattle and the guys that they had in that room. They had a receiving back up there as well, and Laube seems to fit that profile of what he can do. Not that Ashton and Mike Washington can't catch, because Ashton's obviously got that, but in terms of a depth piece, to be able to mix it up and add some other elements into it, not like that side of his game. But with Mike Washington, yeah, he's an interesting one. I mean, he's got some juice for sure. I think I might have mentioned it last week. Like, I was a little worried about he seems like a long strider. I was a little worried about that in terms of how he would look behind the line of scrimmage in that regard. But it seems like he's picked that up, and and he's making really good reads. He's been shown like really good patience, and when he finds a crease, he's able to hit it quick and go. And the big thing for him, like any other running back, and it's so cliche, a young running back that is going to be pass protection. But he's figuring that out, and we'll get a look at that in the preseason game too. But he's even shown a bit as a receiver as well. I don't remember any drops from him off the top of my head throughout camp that have stood out. Lobby did have one yesterday, and I know that's like his job. That's what he should be able to do. But I honestly, I feel pretty comfortable saying that it's Ashton Jeanty, Mike Washington Jr., and Dylan Lowby as the top 3 running backs. I know everybody loves Roman Hemby. I know they brought in Dario Gumboale, all this stuff. I think those are 2 practice squad candidates. Honestly, I don't think that they're going to be able to challenge him enough. I have that much confidence in what Dylan Lowby's done out there and what the staff seems to think about him as well.
And the staff obviously thinking very highly of Tonka Hemingway. The offseason productivity has really paid off now, hasn't it?
Yeah. As evidenced too by the depth chart there, you've seen him up there, and this is a guy too. I think he's got the ability to slide around the line a little bit. Okay. He beat, I think it was yesterday or the day prior practice. He must have stunted or something because he beat Colton on a rush that would have been a sack. He's come through even with a couple tips at the line as well. So and I think too, one of the guys that we spoke to at the podium, he talked about like the basketball background. I think it was Thomas Booker had talked about him and said that you can see that Tonka has that like multi-sport athlete in his bag. And for a guy that I think is pushing like 285, if I remember right, like you can see it. He definitely, like, he's got the length. He looks like a basketball player, almost like Antonio Gates if he was bigger playing D-line. Like not to compare him to that guy, that level, but you know what I mean. And you see that in his rush ability. And as a big guy, there's a lot of times you watch some of them, they don't really have those moves. They're not able to shake guys. And in one-on-ones, I've only really like sat and paid attention. I think, God, the last time they did one-on-ones, we've seen the O-line, D-line, I was sitting there watching, and he shook a couple guys on the interior. Like, he's got that ability in there. And he, again, is a guy that put in the work in the offseason, and you're seeing it translating onto the field. And that, to me, is just interesting because I wasn't sure what to expect out of him or JJ, who, like, I've been impressed with JJ when I have noticed him out there. Just haven't seen him a ton, but when I've noticed him there, like, think about the depth now behind him. If Tonka is indeed that guy, what that's able to do in terms of Jonah Lulu and Thomas Booker, who have played a lot of football for this team, over the years, and the fact that they are now depth pieces behind Tonka is interesting. The fact that Benito Jones comes in and now, could potentially is battling with Adam Butler, obviously, but could be a depth piece there. But just Tonka, I've been really impressed with him. The strength that he's shown, the flexibility to be able to kind of move and shake guys and things like that. Like, he's an impressive piece. And if it translates to the field, that's going to be a total game changer for the Raiders, because you guys know how much of a problem it can be when you're able to get pressure up the middle for opposing offenses. And he's been able to do that a lot at camp so far.
Jesse, you said Tonka was 285. He's 284. Come on, can you get?
Whoa!
Can we get our?
What am I doing? It's training camp for everybody, okay?
But
okay,
you did.
Cut me some slack.
You did say Dari's last name unbelievably smooth and crisp, and without hesitation. So you get plus points for that.
Yeah. All right. They do have the pronunciation guide on this one. So.
Well, you are using it, my friend, and well done on your part. All right. Magic wand time. You get Clint Kubiak's hat, whistle, and clipboard.
Ooh.
How are you divvying up the quarterback reps in preseason game number 1?
Yeah, if it's me, I'm not playing Kirk. I'll give him a rest in this one or the first one. Like, I've always favored, like, because I just don't, like, we talked about it, didn't we? Sam Darnold played one series last year's preseason.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, like, do it the last preseason game. I don't want to see him prior to that. That's kind of my take on it. So yeah, if I'm Clint and I'm kind of that idea, then I'm going to throw Fernando out there for an entire half. And I want to see 3 quarters.
Oh.
Just because I want to see what this kid can, like, because think about it, like, throughout camp, whenever he has had any struggles, he responds so well, and he doesn't string together a lot of mistakes. So I'm like, I just really want to see it. And I know it's the preseason and it's not necessarily all against guys that are going to make a roster, but, like, I want to see it in the NFL against NFL caliber players for that long, like how he responds to those mistakes and what that roller coaster ride looks like. Or if it doesn't exist and he's just out there slinging around the yard. Because, like, what we've seen from him is we've seen him finding completions, and that is massive. Like, he's been able to do that. He trusts his arm. Like, that is big. He's been able to do that. We just haven't really seen him sling it around. And that's where I wonder if, like, there's those opportunities when it's third and long or, like, got to have it. You got to rip it down the field. I want to see that. Again, I'm not saying he can't do it. We just haven't seen it. So I think over the course of, to the point of your question, if I'm Clint and I get the magic wand, I'm seeing 3/4 out of him. What do I think we're going to see? I think we're going to see a half. But then I would get a half out of Aiden O'Connell as well. And I feel for Jacob Clark just because dude's off to the side all the time at practice. You don't get to see him in team and everything. You would think this is his time to shine. But maybe that's more of a second or third preseason game type of thing that we see Jacob Clark. So if it were me and I'm Clint, I only want to see Mendoza and Aiden in this preseason game in some way, shape, or form. But if I could really pull the strings, I'm seeing 3/4 of Mendoza is what I'd want.
Ooh, Vince, what do you think about that, buddy?
Well, I don't want to spoil the hot take ahead of Thursday's game, but if you ask me, and this might not be a popular, I give him the full game. If you're not going to play Kirk Cousins, if you're going to go, and I don't disagree with you. I'm just, listening to Clint Kubiak over the weekend saying, his starters are going to play throughout the preseason. You take that and you're like, okay. But if you're not playing Kirk this first game, I don't need to see Aiden O'Connell, to be completely frank. And if Jacob Clark can't get any reps in practice, I don't need to see him in a preseason game. If you want to get Fernando Mendoza up to speed, I'm giving him the full game. Because the one thing we've seen in training camp, and Jesse, I know you'll agree with me, well, maybe you won't, is despite all the ups and downs Fernando has had, the one consistency through all that inconsistency is he's gotten better each day throughout the day. Like, his best has always been last in training camp for the most part. So I would want to see him for a full game. I want to see him go through everything. Because if you're really getting this kid up to speed, and he's the future of the franchise and all this stuff, and you have Kirk in waiting, not that I'm not worried about injury, but injuries could happen at any point. I'm giving him the entirety of the game. How does that sit on you? I
would love to see it because I agree. Like, it's like, no, I get where you're coming from, Vin, in terms of, like, are you saying that because of, like, injury risk or anything like that? Or what's your, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts before I kind of dig into it.
I think everyone would love to see it. We're not going to see that, and I think Aiden
I don't think we are.
And I think that, and I think the fourth guy is going to play as well. It's just too risky, especially at the end of games when you're. First of all, you got guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, and they can get a little reckless
out there. Number one overall pick,
Yeah, exactly. In the preseason, so I'm not going to take that risk. Especially, you got offensive linemen that might be running into each other at that point that haven't really played, maybe even in training camp together, tripping all over. Who knows? And so it's just I would love to see him out there. I'm not arguing with Vince on that at all. I just don't think it's practical, especially in the first preseason game.
Yeah, I mean, that's my one caveat with that is, like, if he's out there, I don't want to see him with anybody that's, like, past the number 2 on the depth chart on the offensive line. You know what I mean? Like, that's where, I would love to see it. I definitely would. I don't think we're going to, but, like, my thing is like, who's out there with him if he's out there that long? And I would just love to see the entirety of the game, just simply for your point there, Vince, of, like, being able to see how he really rides that wave, how he adjusts to things as the game goes on. And throughout his last season, at least at Indiana, he really did get better measurably from week to week, and that's something where in that entire course of a game, you could really see that. Now, at some point, we'll get a chance to see that. So, like, are we trying to, like, put the cart before the horse here and everything like that? But God, it would be great to see. But I agree. I don't think we're going to see it, but I think, a mix of Aiden and, Fernando in there, and then again, if Jacob Clark gets in there, like, great. And I would imagine, too, to your point, Vinny, with offensive line running into each other, no offense to Jacob Clark, but that's probably when they want to throw him out there, and get him out there with those guys.
I just wonder, and we're wrapping up our time here with Jesse Merrick, Silver and Black Sports Network. I just wonder, if you were to do that, again, I don't think it's going to happen either. I'm just saying, you're asking me, you're Clint Kubiak, and you could basically, what you used to get out of 4 preseason games, you only have 3 at your disposal. You run the 2s for the entirety of the game. You get you basically get 2 games in 1 by running them and keeping them out there. Because I'm not sitting there saying put the 3s and 4s with Fernando. I'm saying you keep basically that second-team offense out there, and you let them mesh. But, again, we'll have more time to discuss that. Jesse, we appreciate the time, as always, in the inside, because now you've provoked more thought, which is sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. In this case, it's a good thing. Jesse, we'll see you tonight at Allegiant Stadium for the first time. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to get back into the Death Star, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Jesse Merrick. Because, man, if you're Clint Kubiak, you could just completely upend the idea of how preseason allocation of reps go, right, Clay? I mean, I
like your theory on getting the second teamers extended time.
I mean, for what you accomplish, what you used to accomplish over the course of 4 games, right? If you just pick a game, specifically this first game, to give them all the run, and then you give them, a couple series here and there, you focus on the joint practice in Houston. You know what I mean? Like, again,
right.
maybe this preseason doesn't line up exactly the way like you'd like that to be, but when you're trying to get them online, an offensive line together, maybe it's something to think about.
Preseason week 1 and 2 are very significant, right? Week 3, not so much.
Counter argument.
Yeah.
If something were to happen to Fernando Mendoza in that scenario, Clint Kubiak might be the first coach fired before the end of the first preseason game. So that to me, I don't care what scenario you just drew up. It's way too risky for it's just and like I said, there's guys on the other team that are going to be trying to make a name for themselves. And if you got the number 1 pick of the entire draft out there in the fourth quarter of of the preseason game number 1. Somebody might try to make a name for themselves, and that's just too much of a risk for me. And there's plenty of time to get ready, and there'll be another game that he's going to play in, and the other offensive linemen and first and second team players will play in. But I just can't. I would not feel good about even trying or thinking about playing Fernando Mendoza for an entire game.
What I want hardly ever comes to fruition, but what I think is going to happen, 2 very different things.
Yeah.
702-365-9200 is the number. Let's get your thoughts. We'll continue our deep dive on the defensive side of the ball in the depth chart as it stands today. But first,
hey, guys, when it comes to your health, when it comes to feeling good, and sometimes we pretend that we feel better than we really are, and sometimes we pretend that we don't weigh as much as we actually do. And when it comes to all of those things, how many times do you say, you know what, I know I got to do something about it, but I'll start tomorrow. I used to do that, and tomorrow's I quickly found out we're running short, and so what you have to do is take advantage of the right now and actually do something about it, and that's what City MD is here for. If you're tired of feeling sluggish, frustrated with your weight, dealing with daily aches and pains, or just not feeling like yourself, it's time to take control. City MD in Las Vegas offers personalized wellness and weight management programs designed for real, lasting results, but they don't stop there. City MD also provides advanced pain therapy and primary care, giving you a complete head-to-toe approach to your health. One team, one plan, built around you. More energy, less pain, better health, real confidence. Stop waiting. Stop putting it off. Give them a call at 725-255-7246. That's 725-255-7246. Our good friends Andy or Claudia will take it from there. Or go to CityMDPHP, that's CityMDPHP.com right now and schedule your consultation. City MD, stop waiting, start feeling like yourself again today.
To his left side, being chased, a man in his face at the 25, cuts towards the middle of the field, and now he's spun down and a sack. Tonka Hemingway with his second sack of the day. A lot of running for Buechele, and Hemingway was kind of just the recipient of where Buechele wound up. It's a loss of 3, and they'll bring on Harrison Butker.
That's the voice of the Raiders, man known as Horowitz, Jason. Welcome back inside the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920, talking depth chart. The unofficial one came out for the first time in 2026 for the Clint Kubiak-led Raiders. Tonka Hemingway, your starter at defensive tackle alongside Adam Butler. Tonka ahead of Jonah Laulu. Hey, Clay, quick little trivia that I just stumbled upon yesterday.
All right, let's hear it.
Do you know Jonah Laulu recorded his first sack Do you know who the quarterback was that he sacked?
All right. Was it Justin Herbert?
No. Wrong.
Why, you just want to make me look like a fool in front of everybody?
Get out of here.
Oh, man.
Get out of back of the line. It was Kirk Cousins.
In that Atlanta game.
That
Monday night.
In that infamous Atlanta game on Monday night.
Well, so many memories came out of that one. It's hard to collect one out of all of them.
I know. I stumbled upon that yesterday, just looking, stuff for TV, and I was like, I wonder if they've talked about that yet.
What's cooler, that or the Jermod McCoy interception of Fernando?
I think the Jermod on Fernando.
Yeah, McCoy at Oregon State.
Yeah,
and Mendoza with Cal.
Yeah, before they were who they are. Well, I guess Jermod was becoming who he was.
It was a dynamic freshman season.
And what's bonkers is looking at the depth chart again. I know for a lot of Raider Nation, because I saw it, is the depth chart came out and Jermod was listed as that 3, right? And again, based on how training camp has gone, he is. There's been a massive rotation amongst the 1s and 2s in that secondary. The only one who hasn't been rotating is Eric Stokes. Jermod McCoy, Zeke, DeCamerion, and obviously Darren Porter have all gotten opportunity with the 1s. Darren Porter has had a good camp. Zeke Masses, I think, has surprised maybe the most. Okay. But Jermod has been I don't want to call it a slow build, but a build. He has been building for a number of reasons. Right, and I think to this point, if you were to ask us based on his participation in the offseason, I think there was a lot of worry of how much Jermod McCoy was actually going to practice here in training camp. The Raiders have talked about they've had a plan, and so far that plan has been exceeded in some capacity. We heard from Jermod McCoy say as much in terms of missing just a single day so far during training camp. Let's remember, before we hear from the 4th-round pick out of this past draft, top 10 talent, this guy hasn't played football in 20 months, tearing that ACL in January of 2025, right? So his first game since then is set to be Thursday. So for all the talk of, preseason, this is for different guys for different reasons. These are massive, massive games. And Jermod McCoy is no doubt looking forward to it. Here is the Raiders cornerback.
From a health standpoint, where are you right now?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, glad to be back on the field.
You look incredibly smooth, just flexibility, hips, everything. Are you pushing them a little bit? Come on, let's up my workload here. Let's do a little bit more.
Yeah, because I was on a little I had a little limit or whatever, but I've been able to exceed that. So it's been going real good for me.
How would you describe the process that you do every year? How would you describe rehab process working for Raiders and kind of get you to the point where you feel a lot healthier?
Yeah, I think it's been a great process with them. From the day I came in to now, it's just the way I feel is just so much better. Because AG, all the guys in there, I feel like they just really kind of been pouring into me. They done got me right.
Can it be tough sometimes to kind of buy into certain parts because you miss a lot of times during OTAs and mandatory minicamp. As a football player, you're going to be out there to prove yourself. Can it be tough sometimes when they say, "Hey, we need you to sit back for a day or sit back for this long period of time"?
Yeah, it can be tough, but it's just part of it.
What are some guys that you've leaned on in that cornerback room or that safety room that's really been able to help you through this process of adjusting?
Yeah, I say guys like Stokes. Stokes, Chin, Zay, all those older vet guys. I asked them a lot of questions, just trying to learn more about the game. It's a way different from college, so just trying to get myself to where they at.
I noticed that you talk to Stokes a lot on the sideline and kind of, go over technique and stuff like that. What do you think is the biggest thing that you've learned from him so far?
I say the technique part, and then just our key pre-snap keys, just IDing things that we see. So he's helped me a lot with all that.
Camp battles been between you and Malik Benson so far?
You said what?
Camp battles.
Yeah. Oh, it's been good. Me and Malik, man. Every time I'm up against Malik, I love it because that's they love throwing to Malik. So I know against Malik, ball probably coming there. So I'm gonna try to make a play or whatever.
Did you ever have any doubt personally you'd be able to play this year?
No, I don't really doubt myself. I always try to, if I put my mind to something, I feel like I can always do it.
Well, I know we asked you around the draft, but like, what was it like hearing so many people have so many opinions, and you're kind of sitting there like, I'm me. Everybody has opinions. Don't even know me.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just part of it. Just keeping a level head with it. Just kind of sometimes you just got to tune the stuff out.
When you haven't played for a certain period of time, kind of what's the biggest challenge in terms of being yourself reacclimated to?
Yeah, I say just getting myself back in football shape for sure. First day out there, I was a little tired, but I could see myself progressing more and more daily with my stamina and all that, and just getting back into football shape. And I say the pre-snap stuff and then technical things. So just getting back into all that.
Is there a certain point, like a play or just a certain point within training camp that you can recall where you were just like, okay, I can feel it, like I'm back now?
Yeah, I'd probably say like it was my second or third day. Like I made a few plays and I felt real good and I was like, okay, it's ball again.
If you felt rusty at all?
Like the first little days, it's always gonna be a little rust, but just knocking it off.
Was there any part of you that kind of developed like a chip on your shoulder based off of what happened through the draft, and does that fuel you?
Oh yeah, that's something it'll build me forever.
And what would
I'ma just always remember it's gonna keep fueling me to push forward.
What kind of goals did you set yourself as a rookie?
Well, as a rookie, like I definitely want to be like all rookie, just make that team all pro, like things like that for sure. And then I want to get like 3-4 picks. I love getting that ball back. But that's really
Do you believe you were the best one?
Yeah, 100%.
What appeals to you also, besides being a quarterback, what appeals to you about returning punts?
Getting the ball in my hands, being able to score touchdowns, because it's not a super high chance on defense. So anytime I get the ball in my hands, I love it.
You talked about loving getting the ball back. It seems like the Raiders picked up a lot of guys who have talent for doing that. Has that been a focal point of Rob Leonard and Joe Woods and what they're talking about with this defense?
Oh yeah, we're always trying to get the ball back, make plays on the ball, because we want the offense on the field as much as possible, them putting points on the board. So whatever we can do to get the ball back and help the team do that, that's what we're gonna do.
How does this scheme fits kind of like what you do best on the football field?
I feel like it's very similar to what I was doing in college. It's a lot of, I get to press a lot, play a lot of man. There's some zones in there too. So it's real similar. So it's nothing I'm not used to.
And what's it been like going against Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza out there?
It's been good. I like going against those guys. It's just helping me, and then I feel like I'm also helping them too. So just iron sharpening iron every day.
Your 2024 film is about as good as a college corner could have. How close do you feel you are to that player right now?
I'm getting there. Cause like I said, it's been a long time since I done really played football. So, that's really what I'm taking all this, trying to treat this, getting myself back to where I was. And I feel like I'm really almost there.
Do you feel like there's going to be any emotions for you when you get back out there on the field on Thursday and are actually in action?
For sure. It's going to definitely be some emotions.
Is there a way to deal with that? Do you plan on just kind of taking it in? You look around, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, just look around, take it all in, and just remember, at any point, this game could be taken from you. So just always cherishing these moments.
Zeke said that you guys are really close. What's it been like kind of going through this journey with him together?
It's been real good. Me and Zeke, we talk a lot about stuff that we see. Try to coach each other up on things. Like me and Zeke, I feel like we're real similar with our mindsets. We both want to be the best. So I think that's two rookies coming in doing that. It's something it's hard to find that real. I think
how surreal is it for you that you haven't played in a football game in over a year, and your first football game is in the NFL. So what are your emotions like that you were getting ready for Thursday?
Got to lock in. Got to be ready for it. Yeah.
That is the Raiders Corner, 4th-round pick, Jermon McCoy, meeting with the media yesterday. And what's funny is obviously we're a radio, not a visual medium, but if you were to go back and watch that and you see his face at the end, as he's talking, the realization is kind of setting in oh, yeah, I do get to play a game. All right. I've been thinking about it, but, oh, yeah, that's coming up real quick. That's going to be real nice.
The actual game, not waiting, not holding out. And when he was brought up, his face when he was talking about, how emotional will it be? He was it will be very emotional.
Yeah, that's why I think it's funny. He's like, you just got to lock in. You can't let it overwhelm you. You can't let the wave take over, but you got to lock in and get ready for it. And, Hezekiah Mass is Zeke, as everybody calls him. We're going to hear from him coming up in hour number 3. But I thought it was really interesting as well, that bond and that relationship that is forming between them. There's a common theme that we've heard here at training camp. Players aren't competing against each other. They're competing with each other. We've heard that between Kirk and Fernando. We've heard that between JPJ and Caleb Rogers. We're hearing that in the secondary between a McCoy, a Masses, a DeCamerion Richardson, Darian Porter, right? Like there is a true building up of each other. Let the best man win. Clint Kubiak said it last week. Not everyone's going to start, but a lot of guys are going to play. And that goes for the secondary. That goes for the wide receivers. That goes for a number of positions. So that competition, and really just, I say competition, but that building of the position group has been fascinating to watch.
It's good that they're doing that philosophy because there won't be a major drop-off if one player has to come in for another. Everyone's kind of learning at the same route, but at the same time, they're all learning a lot, and there's support in this room. It's not competitive to the point where people are like holding back information if there are things like that. I see that with other teams. That's not the case here. This is good where you're actually got a very good learning environment and people can kind of at least learn at the same time, but also you can now get a lot out of these moments when everyone is in group session.
And again, they're playmakers. They're guys who make plays on the ball. They're ball hawks. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of PBUs here during training camp. Now, Joe Woods will sit there and say, let's turn those PBUs into INTs. And so that's the next step in the progression. But a good sign nonetheless for that group. 702-365-9200. Let's get to some of your texts. Let's open up the phone lines. Get your thoughts on the depth chart. What stands out to you here on Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Welcome back inside the tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. 702-365-9200 is the number. Depth chart is out. What jumps out to you? What do you like? What don't you like? Who are the movers and shakers between now and at the start of the regular season? Get to your thoughts. But first, a call. Charles in Las Vegas by way of Oregon. Good morning. Welcome. Are you enjoying the 200-degree heat?
Yeah, you know what? The heat's not bad at all. It feels
humidity.
Great. Yeah, I'm loving it. It's all
what?
Good. Yeah, I'm sitting by the pool. I'm in the hot tubbing right now. Got a good workout in.
Right now?
Right now?
You are on the phone with us, hot tubbing in Vegas.
Yeah, oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
What
yeah,
a life.
It's not that hot.
What a life.
I told my wife it's not bad. I'm going to get in the hot tub. So. But yeah.
Just like James Brown. Welcome back. Backstreet's back and Charles is back.
So, just an observation, I think, is just I pay attention to details when when you guys play the interviews, which I appreciate. One of the things I thought was really cool is listening to Jermon McCoy, and he was saying how the defense plays kind of like to his strengths when he can play press man, and hearing Ashton Jeanty talk about he's loving the blocking scheme. And the thing that I see that's really different than last year is it feels like they're the coaching staff, the plan is to build around everybody's strengths. I just love hearing that. These guys are seeing how good it's going to be for them because the way they're building the defense and the offense. And then the other thing, I love hearing what you said about Darian Porter, second-year guy, and how last year he was quiet. Now he's talking to the offense and stuff. It just feels like everything is on the up. And it's just so exciting to look at the roster. And that was the one I was like, wow, Darian Porter he's first string. That's impressive. So the competition with each other versus against each other, it couldn't be more positive. So I'm really looking forward to going to the practice tonight and then, of course, coming to the game on Thursday and hope to meet. I was telling Clay, hope to meet Clay and whoever's out there. Then he talked to Q, and Q said, hey, come out to the
Vince?
porch.
You want to meet Vince, right? Hi. You don't want to leave here without meeting Vince.
Nobody wants to meet. No.
Yes, I do. Of course I do. Yeah.
He's hot tubbing. What does he need me for?
I can hear the bubbles splashing in the water in the background. Charles has got a little drink in his hand. He doesn't care about anything else. It's good.
No drinking right now. I'm still impressed.
Yeah, Clay. Don't even bring it up.
All right, well,
unbelievable.
Living my fantasy.
About 4 or 5 weeks, having a drink for sure.
All right, well, we'll see you tonight, Charles. Thanks again for
Charles,
calling.
I hope to see you tonight.
Right.
Might be on the field, might not. I don't know where I'll be tonight. Maybe I'll buy the Torch, Twitch Lounge. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to buy the Raider image.
Would you see this lonely old soul standing by himself, Charles? That's Vince. That's him.
No, it's good points. It's all in the details, and I think when he talks about Ashton loving the scheme, when he talks about Jermon McCoy, fits his skill set. What does that tell you? That is an aligned vision from top to bottom. The GM is finding the right guys to fit the system that the coach is trying to employ. The players are fitting in. It's not square peg, round holes. This is again. It doesn't just seem like things are on the up. There's a feeling that it is on the up. And we are up in hour number 2. Hour number 3, Ryan McFadden of ESPN joins us next here on The Tailgate.
Covering the Las Vegas Raiders with ESPN, it's Ryan McFadden on the Morning Tailgate.
Hour number 3 here on the Morning Tailgate. It's Raider Nation Radio 920, the flagship for the Silver and Black. Vince Sapienza, Clay Baker, coming to you live from Las Vegas on a Tuesday, August 11, 2026. The Raiders back at it tonight at Allegiant Stadium. Tickets still on sale. Raiders.com/camp. $5 a ticket. 100% of the proceeds go to the Raiders Foundation. Get out there. We want to see you. You want to see Fernando. You want to see Jermon McCoy. You want to see Ryan McFadden of ESPN, who will no doubt be out there as well. Ryan, good morning. It feels weird not seeing you in the morning outside by the table, but here we are. Depth charts are out unofficially, so we're going to overreact to all of it. What jumped out to you the most when you saw the first unofficial depth chart of the 2026 campaign?
I think two things that jumped out is, Trey Zoom, the rookie offensive lineman, as a second string right tackle, and he had Caleb Rogers at left guard, and which is interesting because, Zoom was brought in here to primarily play in the interior, whether it was at contributing guard or at center if needed. That's where they viewed the ability to his size to be able to create mismatches in the interior. And when you look at Caleb Rogers, this is someone who's been competing with JPJ at right guard, and he's had his fair share. He's had a few reps at left guard, but primarily he's been working on the right side. So seeing that on the depth chart, that's probably the two things that stood out to me the most.
Is it something of how you watch the offensive line rotate in and out? Do you ever take a look at these depth charts and figure out, all right, it doesn't necessarily mean like where they stand on the food chain, but maybe it gives us an idea of how much they may play in the preseason, especially preseason week 1?
Especially when it comes to like preseason depth charts, I try not to overreact and you look into it too much. And there's some things that are kind of obvious where it's like you feel like Mike Washington's going to get some significant playing time. As RB2, that's what he's been as during practice. So just if you're just judging off of practice, it's kind of obvious that he's going to get those significant reps. Same with Mendoza as second string quarterback. I think he's going to get a fair share of reps. Especially where I don't think the Raiders are going to play Kirk Cousins too much as well, because you're going to have him ready for the regular season. So I think that opens the door for Mendoza to get some good amount of playing time in these games coming up. So I tried, there's certain things when you look at when you based off of observations and practice that, this is obvious how, or I can see this guy getting a significant amount of reps. So I tell people, you try not to dwell too much on these unofficial depth charts at this time of year. I remember in Denver, Sean Payton in particular, he had all the rookies at the bottom of the depth chart. I think he had Bo Nix as a third string quarterback, and Bo Nix became a starter. So it's like, it's kind of like, you can nitpick a little bit, but I tried, but don't dive into it and make it look like, this is just because this guy is playing is this slotted on the depth chart at this spot, that that doesn't mean that means how much playing time he's going to get. So yeah, it can be a toss up in everything.
Ryan, I thought this was the Bible right now. Yeah. I thought this is what we are beholden to right now. This is everything.
Right. This is the most important overreaction day of the year.
But I do think you are correct, especially like when you look at the Caleb Rogers. You know, we have seen him at left guard and right guard, predominantly right guard, but we've seen him at both. So, you know, you take it with a grain of salt, just as you do seeing Jermon McCoy as the third string corner, right? Because those four guys, in terms of McCoy, Masses, Richardson, and Darian Porter, have all gotten some run alongside Eric Stokes at one point or another during training camp. I'm curious, if you take those four guys, leave Eric Stokes out for a second, how would you rank those four based on training camp, this training camp solely?
If I had to rank them, I would probably go. I'll probably go Darian Porter 1, Hezekiah Masses 2, Jamal McCoy 3, and DeCamerion Richardson 4. And to me, just what we've seen at practice. Now we have to see how that translates in the regular season and preseason.
Right.
But we're just going off of what we've seen in like 10 practices. All four of them have flashed.
Mm-hmm.
I think DeCamerion Richardson has had a solid camp so far, and it's like maybe he can add some depth there. Hezekiah Masses, you're starting to see him make more plays on the ball. Darian Porter, I think you're seeing him make a lot more plays on the ball. I remember he had like a pick a few days ago after the Mendoza's pass slipped through Malik Benson's hands, and you know Porter had that dive and grab. The last practice, he had a PBUs after, you know, he bounced back well after Benson had like this really nice contested catch over him. He responded well and made some nice plays on the ball, and that's what you like to see. I think with Hezekiah Masses, I'm interested to see kind of like, you know, we know what he brings in terms of man coverage, but I would like to see where he's at in terms of tackling. I think that was one of the issues, you know, coming out of college, and I think that was the same issue Darian Porter had coming out of college that he kind of improved on as the time went on in it. Playing in NFL. So I think would give Darian Porter the edge is like he's starting to stack up days in camp, and he also comes in with 10 games of starter experience.
Ryan, let me ask you this. What's been the bigger surprise to you? The rise of Masses or the amount of times DeCamerion Richardson has truly flashed here at training camp? Because for me, he's been impressive, but between those two, what's been the bigger surprise to you?
I think it's DeCamerion Richardson because I think going into camp, he looked like someone who could be like on the bubble, you know, because you go into the draft, you bring in two corners, you traded for Teron Johnson, you already had Darian Porter, bring back Eric Stokes, so you kind of going into camp, you're trying to figure out where does he fit in all this, and he's showing that he can, and you know. He's really made a strong case in trying to, you know, keep him on the roster, be a solid depth piece because he's like you said, he's played some really good football through camp. We've seen in like one-on-one periods where receivers have a hard time breaking away from him, even in team period when it's in man coverage, and they just have a hard time creating separation for him. I mean, we've seen a few plays where he's got his hand in there to get a PBU. So he's overall looks solid. And it seems like everyone, like they've got a bunch of guys in that secondary. And yes, they're young, they're unproven. We don't know what to expect from them. But they have a lot of guys that really feel comfortable playing press coverage and man coverage quite a bit. And that's what, you know, Rob Leonard and pass game corner Joe Woods is going to ask for. You're going to see a lot more man coverage from these guys compared to last year where they was in that single high cover 3 that Pete Carroll likes to run. No, they got corners that don't mind getting in your face and trying to and strapping up. And I'm interested to see how, you know, when we get into these Thursday night, first week week 1 of preseason, I'm interested to see how this translates in games.
How do you think it's translating now in the safety room? Because, you know, with the advent of Stooks and Dalton Johnson, how much are they pushing the other guys, Polamalu and Chin, right now for playing time, or at least in a way that you might see them start to emerge as, you know, a candidate to think about as the season progresses and going through this preseason?
I think Trey Stooks is, you know, at the moment, Polamalu still, you know, he still has this role there as a starter. I think Trey Stooks is starting to get together. You know, he's starting to stack up days as well with these last few days of practice. You're seeing him run more with the ones. You've seen him, even runs with ones, runs in the twos, and in those reps, he's starting to make a lot more plays on the ball. And, that's what you want to see. And, it's an adjustment period for him, right? Like, he even said it, safety coach Matt Robson said it as well. Like, they're asking Trey to speak up. They're going to ask him to do a lot in this scheme. He's going to be playing, deep safety, playing up in the nickel. So you're going to see a lot more movement around. So it's taking some time for him to kind of get accustomed to, the playbook and what they're asking for him. They're going to ask him to do during the regular season. Do I think he has a chance to continue to, at some point, pull him out for a starting role? I still believe so, and I think that's when say the stadium practice tonight, preseason against Houston and Arizona on Thursday. I think those moments right there is where he has the opportunity to show that he can push for a starting role. But for right now, I think pull him out still in the driver's seat to start on the opposite side of Jeremy Chin.
It's Ryan McFadden of ESPN joining us here on the morning tailgate. Follow him on the X at Ryan McFadden _ Ryan, the Raiders just posted that play that we were kind of all drooling over with Malik Benson with Darian Porter in coverage yesterday, where he kind of contorted his body to adjust to the throw from Kirk Cousins and came down with the catch. Every day we have talked about Malik Benson in a positive way. And when you look at this depth chart, right, again, grain of salt, I understand.
Right.
Clay,
well,
easy.
Can't help it.
Okay. Naylor, Tucker, Besh are listed with the ones, right? Malik Benson right behind Besh. And what I said was interesting, at least at the start of the show, is that what I found it fascinating is you put Malik Benson behind Jack Besh at the depth chart, but I don't know if you could find two players who are doing two opposite things, right? Like Jack Besh is known for his physicality and over-the-middle type stuff. Malik Benson has been all over the field, twitchy, separation, etc. I made the argument that Malik Benson is probably the number 3 right now. At minimum, the number 4 guy. How do you see it shaking out when we get into real football in the regular season, knowing the Raiders are going to be running 12 personnel, probably with a fullback quite a bit?
Yeah, to your point, you're probably going to see a lot more 12 personnel. I think Malik Benson is going to be your wide receiver 3. Here's my prediction. I think either Malik Benson is your wide receiver 3 or they go out and get somebody. I think that's as simple as that. To me, that's how thin this wide receiver room is. Either you are very confident Malik Benson is your wide receiver 3 or you have to go out and get somebody. But I think what helps the Raiders, you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel, 21 personnel, Connor Hayward out there as a fullback, 2 tight end sets. So you're going to see when it comes to a wide receiver, you're probably going to just rely heavily on Jalen Naylor and Trey Tucker and those personnel schemes. You're not going to see too many situations where you're going to see 3 wide receivers out there because I don't think it benefits them. And all you can do is, if you want another wide receiver, just put Brock Bowers on the outside and Trey Tucker on the slot, and then you probably see a lot more of that than anything, right? So, but I think going to your point about Malik Benson, he right now is wide receiver 3, and that's why I said you kind of take these unofficial depth charts for a grain of salt because from what we've seen in practice, he's had the clear edge over Jack Besh and Dante Thornton whenever he is practicing. Dante's missed the last 2-3 practices because of undisclosed injury.
2.5 practices, yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 practices, yes, due to an undisclosed injury, and we don't know if he's going to be out there today. But out even when he's there, it's still Malik Benson has the edge. So yeah, I think that's how it's going to come down. I think it's either you get Malik Benson continue to put together good practices and this translating to games, and he can solidify himself as that wide receiver 3 on the depth chart, or the Raiders they might have to go out either in free agency or the trade market to try to bring someone in to kind of help that room. Because outside of Naylor and Tucker, there are so many questions there. And even with Naylor and Tucker, your top 2 guys, they got question marks as well. Can their performance elevate in Kubiak's scheme? We've seen Naylor's numbers rise his last 2 seasons in Minnesota, but can that translate here in Las Vegas? So it's so many question marks there in that wide receiver room. But yeah, at the moment, Malik Benson's wide receiver 3, but at the same time, if he does not continue this, then yeah, they're going to have a serious problem where they're probably going to need to rely on outside help to come in to help this room.
How has your mind changed as you approach preseason week 1, and how much time Fernando Mendoza should be on the field?
To me, I think when you look at, Fernando Mendoza, I would like to see Mendoza.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would like to see Mendoza at least get maybe a drive with the first team offensive line.
Okay.
Like I don't know how much Kirk Cousins is going to play. Maybe Clint Kubiak is going to shed more light about that in a few hours when he speaks to reporters at 1 p.m. Pacific time. But I would like to. I'm someone who is all for seeing Mendoza get a drive in with the one. See how he looks with that first team offensive line. Especially if we're in a situation where like you don't want for example, if you don't want Kirk Cousins out there the whole time, then yeah, maybe get him for a few plays, and let's see Mendoza go and have him play with the ones in the first team offensive line for maybe a couple plays or maybe a drive, and then have him spend the rest of the first half with the second team O line and then go to Aiden O'Connell for the second half. So, yeah, I think Mendoza needs as much rest as possible. I know you want to be protective of him because, want to deal with injuries as well because he is still in a quarterback battle. But I still would like to see him get as much rest as possible. And maybe some. I know it won't be a lot because you want to protect those guys up front, but maybe you want to give him a couple of plays to see how he looks behind, Tyler Linderbaum, Colton Miller, and those guys.
All right, Ryan, I got a lot of pushback on this, so you tell me how crazy I am, okay? If Clint doesn't want to play Kirk in this first one, let's just say he doesn't, right?
Okay.
Let's just live in that world for saying, like, Kirk's not going to play in the first one. How crazy would it if I said Fernando Mendoza is going to play the entire game with the caveat that the twos will be out there with him in terms of the offensive line at the end of the game?
Mendoza, I just don't see that.
No, I don't either. But how crazy would that be to you?
I think I'll be shocked. I think it would be crazy. I'll be shocked.
But how bad do you want it?
Of course I want to see it.
And I want to hear what you have to say. But my argument, and Vinny pushed back on me hard, which I get. I understand this is not real, but I feel Clint Kubiak could flip this entire preseason allotment on its head. You only got 3 preseason games. You got the number 1 overall pick. You're trying to get him set, right? What you could accomplish over the course of 2 or 3 preseason games, you could get done in 1 game.
Yeah, that's true.
And you just leave the twos out there, and you just let them run. What do you need to see from AOC? Jacob Clark can't get reps in practice. What do you need to see from him in a preseason game? No offense to him. I would love to see Jacob Clark, but I would love to see Fernando Mendoza play a full game more.
Yeah, I think anyone would. But I think in a scenario where, let's say, Kubiak says, you know what, Kirk, you're our guy. We know what you're going to bring. Let Fernando Mendoza play these games. I think if anything, you'll see him play a whole first half. Let's say in this scenario, most likely it will be a whole first half, and AOC gets the third, or in part of the fourth, and Jacob Clark the rest of the way. Maybe that's the scenario that we'll see. But and for AOC, you kind of want to. He probably wants to get as much rest as possible. So, if it's a situation where Mendoza just plays the whole first and he's the whole second, he probably needs those reps just in case, we still don't know if the Raiders are going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man. So, I think AOC would love to get as much reps as possible, and as so is the Raiders, in case it is a situation where they might have to trade him to a team around late August, around roster cut down. So, yeah, I would love to see, back to your point, I would love to see Mendoza get as much reps as possible a whole game, but I think we're going to have to wait before we get a chance to see that. But yeah. I think fans and anyone who's watching this team would be even satisfied if he can get 2 full halves or even go into the first drive or the third.
Yeah, I'm sure AOC wants to play. I'm sure AOC wants to play as much as he can.
Oh,
I don't need to see AOC
him.
play.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just simply don't.
But you can see how it could benefit the Raiders in the long term.
Clint Kubiak said they have 3 NFL-ready quarterbacks. He said it, Ryan. He said it.
No denying that.
Whatever. Everyone's just poo-pooing my idea.
Hey, Ryan, just as the observations of how you've seen practice being run under the Kubiak regime versus last year with Pete Carroll, what should people expect? I mean, when they come out tonight for the open practice, of how different things have been run, just in front you've been able to observe through these days of from OTAs to training camp.
Yeah, it's still nonsense. It's a lot more attention to detail, as what the players describe. You know, it's a sense of urgency, a sense of intensity, because they try to get the ball rolling. And when it's a sense of urgency, that doesn't mean we're trying to win a Super Bowl right away. It's about the urgency, but still in the culture and still in how we want to move this train for the foreseeable future. That's what the sense of urgency is there, right? And I think it's still not to the Pete Carroll era. I think I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I think Pete Carroll was trying to immediately translate what he did in Seattle to Las Vegas, and the thing is, the issue was when you go back to Seattle, he had to build to that. You know, he had to build that up. You just can't come in right away and do that, because, you know, where this team was, you know, they were far from it. Like Pete Carroll just, you know, he had a great career at USC, goes to the NFL. So it took him, he was able to kind of like build into that. But last year he felt like he was trying to rush into it. You know, he was trying to do everything in one season, and I think it backfired in a sense. So I don't think it's nothing wrong for how he ran it, but it's just that I think the team wasn't ready for that. The organization wasn't ready for that. But Kubiak, I think, is a sense of like, we understand we're at the bottom of the totem pole, and we have to work our way up. So we have to be very detailed and very serious about everything we do, and so we can start making the necessary steps to get to the top. So that's what I've seen from Kubiak's training camp.
It's Ryan McFadden of ESPN. Ryan, before we let you go, a little bit of breaking news. We haven't had a lot of breaking news in the last couple of weeks, so let's use it, Clay. The Vikings have named Kyler Murray QB1 over J.J. McCarthy. Your rapid reaction, Ryan?
I'm not surprised.
Burn.
I haven't been paying too much attention to Vikings camp, but it's something but just going off of Murray's career and experience compared to what J.J. McCarthy has put on tape in the time he's been in the NFL. I think that was an obvious decision when Kyler Murray was signed to the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm curious to see how soon the Raiders will make their decision. So far, that's one dynamo. That's one dynamo that's fallen in these quarterback battles across the league. How soon will Kubiak, announce who's the starter? And we all think it's going to be Kirk Cousins, right? Does that decision come after week one? It's interesting to see, Vikings made a decision before they play a preseason game, so I'm interested to see when will Kubiak make his. I think Kubiak makes his after Houston, but at the same time, we didn't think he would just come out his way to say, yeah, Kirk Cousins our starter begin training camp. So who knows? Maybe he does make the decision after Thursday night. So we'll see. So I'm not surprised what's going on in Minnesota. I think that was kind of obvious from the jump, but it got me thinking, all right, how soon will the Raiders make theirs?
What a pro. What a pro Ryan McFadden is.
Dynamite.
Embedded here in Las Vegas, asked about the Vikings, segues it back to the silver and black. Ryan, you're the best. We appreciate you.
Yes.
I'll see you at the facility here in a couple short hours, then at Allegiant Stadium tonight. Appreciate you.
As always, thanks for having me. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's Ryan McFadden.
He's good.
Just another day. Just another day. Oh, you're going to throw a curveball at me with Minnesota Vikings? That team in purple? Yeah, I'll bring it back.
Yeah, I'll bring it back. When will it happen for the Raiders? When will they officially name their week one starter?
Sounds like we got a show topic for tomorrow.
Thank you, Ryan. That guy's good, man.
702-365-9200. We'll open up the phone lines one more time as we close out our final hour here on the morning tailgate. Depth chart is out. What do you like? What do you see? Who are the movers and shakers? What do you think will change after preseason game number one? 702-365-9200. is the number. Coming up next, we'll also hear from Hezekiah Masses. Zeke, what does he have to say after getting some run with the ones? It's the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation.
Or DB room or D-line room, whatever. He's kind of had like a piece in everything. So, that's been impressive to see. I mean, just the guys, the coaches that he has in those positions, whether it be Trav or Matt or, Ronell or something, just letting those guys coach. And I think as each group continues to get better and get strong and find those leaders, I think it all kind of falls under the same roof, which Rob is building, so it's cool.
That is Raider safety Jeremy Chin talking about new DC Rob Leonard. And what I love is, Malcolm Kuntz talked about Rob Leonard. And, he's been asked about, what's Rob Leonard like now that he's DC. He goes, there's absolutely zero difference. The difference is he talks to the defense exactly how he talked to us as the defensive line. So it's just more people in the room, and Rob Leonard's the same, which you love to hear, because the one thing you always worry about is guys changing, guys trying to do too much, trying to be something they're not, and Malcolm Kuntz kind of reassures all of Raider Nation that Rob Leonard is the same guy that he was today, that he was 3 years ago, et cetera, which,
could you imagine going through that interview like, so what are you changing?
Nothing.
Zero. I just memed absolutely the same.
Now, again, what does that mean?
Good.
For the defense in the regular season, what is it going to look like? No idea. But I think it's always good when somebody stays true to who they are. The self-awareness is kind of what it is. But the teaching has been, without question, at the forefront. Something that has been a common thread throughout this training camp is the amount of teaching from the coaching staff that has gone on has been, as some have described it, a breath of fresh air. And the teaching isn't just from coaches to players, it's players to players. Many in the secondary have talked about Jeremy Chin, for example, as a guy who's been doing a lot of talking. Maybe not the most vocal behind the mic with us, maybe not the most excited to always do the media, which is fine. You don't always have to do that, but he has been very vocal to members of the secondary, to the Dalton Johnsons, the Traden Stukes, to the corners, including Hezekiah Masses, Zeke. We've seen him running with the ones. We've seen him running with the twos. We've seen the PBUs. We saw him yesterday working a little nickel behind Taron Johnson. So really seeing the versatility. And we're going to listen to Zeke Masses here in a second, but a fifth-round pick that the scouting report said, good production, but I don't know if he has the physicality. I don't know if he has the tackling chops at the next level to make it. And needless to say, Zeke Masses heard those scouting reports, and he responded in a big way.
What have you liked so far about the way you've been playing?
What I like so far about myself is just me just going out there, just playing confidence, just my team just pushing me every day, and I'm just being the best version of myself.
You're getting a lot of work here with the ones. Just what is it like being a part of the competition like that?
Yeah, man, just being with the ones, truly just a blessing. I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and just my teammates just pushing me every day and just the coaches trusting me every day.
How has this whole experience been for you now getting through training camp? You guys are going to play in your first preseason game this week.
Yeah, I'm just super excited, man. It feels so unreal, man. My first preseason game, I'm just happy for the opportunity. I'm just ready to play for Thursday for the game.
Competition is something that's preached with every position group. How do you guys, as a DBs in whole, push each other to be better?
Oh man, every day, even warm-ups, every day we pushing each other. We trying to we trying to get each other better every day. So we just pushing each other every day.
Last time we spoke with, he compared you to Mendoza Ward. How does it feel to get such praise from a man that's watching you play every day?
Yeah, man, it's much praise, man. That's my coach. He see what I'm doing every day, and I feel like it's a blessing for him to say compare me to a guy like that, a great guy that's been in the league for a long time. So I'm just being myself, just taking it day by day.
At what juncture did you start to feel comfortable being in OTAs when you came? When did you start to feel comfortable out there?
Man, it just in me. I feel comfortable as soon as I put the cleats on. I feel comfortable, so it just in me. So as soon as I'm out there, I'm just trying to be myself.
The biggest criticism in scouting on you was, how is he going to play with the physicality in the NFL?
Yes, sir.
You have clearly sent the message that's not an issue with you. How excited are you to play somebody in a different jersey to show it even more?
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to take their head off. Yeah, so, that was a big, issue. They said I can't tackle, so I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them I'm very physical. I can do everything.
Do you feel like you're in that zone? I mean, every day I write, I'm tired of writing about this guy because it seems like I'm his cheerleader, but every day you're making big plays. Do you
Yes, sir.
feel like you're in that zone?
Yeah, I'm in my zone. Yeah, I'm in that zone for sure, just 100%. I'm just out there just making plays and just being myself. They calling on great calls, and I'm just out there executing.
How does it feel to have such like a fan base from the Golden Bears and a lot of your like family and friends just be cheering you on social media?
Yeah, man, that's much love. Golden Bear, I love Cal. They treat me well, and like they come along like the way. So whatever I do, like they right behind me.
You and Malik, 2 rookies in this class. You're going against them every day. What is it like to not only have him in your rookie class, but he's playing across from me, and he's playing well as
Yes, sir. A great guy, great receiver. He can do everything. So it's just iron sharpen iron. And so as soon as I line up against him, like we know we're going at it every day in practice.
Jalen and Trace had great things to say about you as well.
Yes,
What have you kind of been learning about them as they've kind of helped you as you try to get better?
Yeah, man. Both of them guys, twitchy receivers, man. Them vets, they can do it all. So I'm just learning from them guys, like trying to like just get better each and every day with them guys.
A lot of rookies in the DB room. How cool is it for you not to just be maybe like the only one, but there's a lot of you guys learning, not just being in the NFL, but the entire team together?
Yes, man. You got E. Stokes. He big brother to me. He tagged me along the way. He teaching me the ropes. We got D-Cam, DP, and Chid. Them like great group of guys, and like they tagging me along.
What's it been like getting to know your mom? You guys both?
Oh yeah, so we came in together. So that's my boy. So like when we got the same locker room. We right next to each other. So we talk to each other every day.
Jeremy gave a lot of praise to you and asked a question about how he feels you're doing this training camp. What would you say his leadership and his mentorship has meant to you while being here?
Oh yeah, it meant a lot. Jeremy Chin, he been in the league for a long time, so he know the ins and outs. So he get on me every day, just make sure I'm doing the right things and being a pro.
What would you say is the biggest difference from going from college ball to now NFL pro ball?
The biggest difference, I'd say, really just the terminology. Football, it's the same thing. It's just the terminology, how the coaches speak, and then just me picking up their technique. Yeah.
Sorry. So can I ask one more? Anything? Sorry if I missed this, but just is there anything like goals that you've set out for yourself to accomplish this year in your rookie season?
Yeah, a goal for me is just make the 53-man roster, and then just be the best version of myself, be the best teammate I could be, and then just whatever I can do to contribute to help us win. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes, ma'am.
That is Raiders corner, rookie 5th-round pick, Zeke Masses. I think it's fair to say at this point, Clay, the way Minnesota has already dubbed their starting quarterback, I think it's safe to say Zeke Masses made the 53. I think you
going
can
on
check,
a limb.
I think you can check that box, Zeke. I think you did that. That's just me. That's just me. I'm not the.
Time will tell, but you got to admit that anybody who comes out on a Raiders defense and during camp and is standing out, stacking the days that they had good from OTAs, that says a lot, because we have heard so many years from defensive coordinators saying, we got a real principle now to go after the ball and to get interceptions and get turnovers. Well, now they're drafting guys that's what they do.
Clay, he was asked about the scouting reports that scouts had on him, and his response was not to the scouts but to his opposition, I'm going to take their head off. That was the quote of the day on Monday. I'm going to take their head off. I saw those reports. They said I can't tackle. I'm going to show them I can do everything. That was an unbelievable soundbite. But he's one of those guys. He's one of many. And again, Thursday can't come soon enough. I want to see that. Not because I don't think he can do it, because I've seen his physicality up close and personal at training camp, but I want to see the full Monty. Now I want to see him, be that physical tackling guy. Hopefully he's not making too many tackles is the ironic part. You don't want a guy like Zeke Massis making all the tackles, but if and when that opportunity is going to present itself, and it will, I'm excited for him to prove himself right, prove the doubters wrong, and provide a win for the Raiders organization.
How much can you say, all right, well, a lot of battles will be taking place in a preseason week 1. Well, I think you should watch this one because Arizona already had a game under their belt, one in which their offense went up and down with pretty good regularity. Carson Beck was zipping balls in the middle of the field with accuracy. So I can imagine that for their week 2, they want another good effort out of that offense.
Yeah.
And they'll be throwing the ball, But what you want to do is what I want to see is like when it looks like it's a throw to Masses, and instead they run it at him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that was a problem last year with both Caillou as well as Darian Porter because you have young rookie corners being told a million different things, and they're overthinking it. So what will be his reactions when they start running the ball where it looks like pass, and he's one-on-one with a ball carrier?
Yeah.
That's where we want to see it,
And
because I think Arizona's offense is advanced enough for preseason week 2 that they're going to be doing different things.
Especially if Jeremiah Love plays.
Okay, well, there's that.
I have zero worry about that aspect of it because, again, I'm not going to pretend I watched all the tape of Zeke Masses, but, you read the scouting reports and time again it says, tackling. And I'm like, is he really that bad? And I remember talking to him earlier in the offseason. He's like, I don't understand. I mean, I tackle.
Yeah, I sometimes maybe especially in the scouting world, not all of them. We try to get guys that get their own information.
Right.
And they're not copying, pasting. But sometimes you just see it like it's always labeled as a DB that's thin or, not, 210 pounds.
Yeah.
They always get this tackling rep. Oh, they
Maybe
can't
that's
tackle.
what it is.
They're not physical enough because they're too light. Well,
maybe that's it. Maybe that's all it is.
I think that's all it is.
Dame in Oakland said the same thing. I don't know who started this narrative that Zeke couldn't tackle. If you watch the tape, he made a bunch of tackles in college. That wasn't a problem. So there
Dame.
you go. Not a baby Dame. What a pick. See, look at it. It's like we're all part of the show.
Dame knows. The sun's out, the guns are out.
Herb in the 404 Raider 67. Good morning, gents. I love you. Let me just say, no need to even think of Mendoza all game in the preseason. He's on a plan. He's not going to start the season, so no, stick to the plan. There may be 50 players vying for 13 roster spots in the practice squad. The fans want/need to see Mendoza, but the staff has different needs. Again, you're 100% right, bro. I'm just telling you, the question was asked to me, what do you want to see? I want a full game. That's what I want to see. Mm-hmm. Especially if the caveat is Kirk Cousins is starting week 1. If you're telling me Kirk Cousins is starting, then I definitely want to see Fernando Mendoza full game.
Right, because this is the only time to actually get some real reps.
And for him to get those reps. But again, I might be in the minority, and that's fine. I might be a little crazy on a Tuesday.
It's okay. You were asked your opinion. You gave your opinion.
I know. You know what? I'm a terrible person.
Even though a lot of your opinions turn into solid fact.
Donnie says, this is actually the first chance AOC has to show who he is behind a functional line with a good coaching staff who are all rowing in the same direction. I'm actually excited for AOC. I think if he does well, it will raise his stock for potential trade partners later in the season, or maybe he sticks around and solidifies himself as Fernando's backup next season. Raider Nation for life. You know what? Mm-hmm. That's a great point. That is a fantastic point. I take back what I said. I want to see AOC a little bit.
He has been
Donnie,
praised ever since Kubiak got here, about his work ethic, his ability to go through the offense and understand the offense. Mm-hmm. Everyone's very happy with that. I would like to see him in an offense that makes sense to him and caters to his assets, which is ball placement and arm strength.
It is a good point because, the conversation, the narrative, and all the questions have been around Kirk and Fernando. And every time Clint Kubiak is asked something in and or around Fernando Kirk, he makes sure to throw in AOC. And then if there's time, Jacob Clark. But again, he did say they have 3 NFL-ready quarterbacks, and we'll see how it plays out. 702-365-9200. We'll get your final thoughts on the final sit-down, but now before Clay has a gift for you.
Oh, let's go see the ex-ambassadors over at the Sahara Pool Saturday, September 26th. We have tickets here for you, a pair of tickets. You got to pick them up at Lotus Broadcasting, so be caller 9 at 702-365-9200 for the ex-ambassadors at the Sahara Pool Saturday, September 26th on Raider Nation Radio 9.
It is the final sit-down here on the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Big thanks to our guests on today's program, Jesse Merrick, Silver and Black Sports Network, Ryan McFadden of ESPN, and you, Raider Nation, as always, for the conversation and the passion that you bring. Don't forget, Allegiant Stadium practice tonight, 6 o'clock. Parking free. Tickets $5. All proceeds go to the Raiders Foundation. Concessions open. Raiders Image Store open and available. We will see you tonight at Allegiant Stadium. Go get your tickets. Raiders.com/camp. What's up with all quarterback news right now, Clay?
teams are trying to find their identity.
Kyler Murray already announced QB1 before one preseason game. How bad did J.J. McCarthy have to be? Or is it just the inverse?
Well, I remember...
Or did Kyler just look so great?
Midweek last week, it was when they broke off into 11-on-11 drills, Kyler Murray went 0 for 7.
Oh,
and with drops and missed throws. And
so maybe it isn't the inverse. Maybe.
I think people are worried about getting fired
okay.
Over there. But you know what? It makes sense. Doesn't it? I mean, you went out and got him.
I think that was the writing on the wall, to be honest. But Anthony Richardson going to be named the starter for the Colts preseason opener. Feels like that's a trade showcase, clearly.
They are, show us whatever you got, kid.
Riley Leonard will get in there at some point. And Daniel Indiana Jones is QB1 over there in Indy.
They're happy with what Riley Leonard did at the end of the year. I mean, obviously they didn't win enough games, but they liked where he progressed, where he kind of showed that he's more than just a running quarterback.
The moment Anthony Richardson subbed himself out and people found out it's because he was tired, his time was over.
I could relate.
The patience level, the threshold, the leash, whatever you want to call it in terms of him figuring out his accuracy. Once he did that, his time was over.
You got to be careful when you go and draft a project that high at quarterback because you're putting all your eggs in a basket that it's all potential and promise. But what do you really have when somebody has only had 12 career starts? They're running into that same problem with J.J. McCarthy. You know, it just has been a lack of a sample size that we can work with or that anyone else wants to work with if they so choose.
One more piece of quarterback
news.
Oh, really? Derek Carr.
What?
Heading to Westwood. He is joining the UCLA football coaching staff.
Oh, right.
He's going to assist the Bruins offensive staff with game planning strategy and work with the UCLA quarterbacks.
Really?
How about that? What about the pod?
It's going to suffer. You're going to leave Dave all alone to do the pod
I guess
himself?
if Dave's doing NFL Network still, I guess Derek can do a little QB work. A little tape.
Okay, you know what? That's
good for Derek. Good for Derek.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, all right, is he behind the 8 ball on the? I'm getting you ready for the season. Or this is starting out really quickly.
I think the official title is special advisor to the head coach
and quarterbacks coach. Okay,
so there you go. So good on Derek. All the QB news.
Wow. Oh, well, good luck to the UCLA Bruins. Bob Chesney.
What do you want to see at practice tonight from the Raiders quarterbacks? What do you want to see, Clay? What do you want to see at Allegiant?
Oh, I want to see deep throws, and I want to see guys getting open in spaces. I want to see accuracy and precision. Everything that I was able to see as the progressions went through the Saints, as well as the Seahawks and the Kubiak offense.
Well, you only get one. Accuracy
what do you want to see?
Or precision, so you got to pick one.
I want to see precision.
I would have picked accuracy.
I like that word. What do you want to see?
I want to see. I want to see what the juice is going to be like. I want to see, when they get into team period and with fans in the stands and being inside Allegiant Stadium, how much ratcheted up the players actually get, because feels like it's going to be elevated. It's still practice. Got to take care of each other, but It feels like you're going to get some extra juice. We are excited for it. Can't wait to see you there tonight at Allegiant Stadium, 6 o'clock. Make sure you stay with the flagship for the Silver and Black all day today. JT the Brick from 12 to 2. Clint Kubiak speaking at 1. Unnecessary Roughness with Hugh Myers from 2 to 5. For Vinny Bonsignore, Clay Baker, I'm Vince Sapienza. We are back tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tonight.